Hi, my name's Rain. Today I'm going to be talking through a few things that you should be probably looking at to get your guild ready for Shadowlands. Just a quick notice, I stream Monday, Thursday and Sunday 8 till 12 PM GMT over on Twitch. Links down in the description. So Shadowlands is just a few weeks ago and pre-patch is imminent. We've got a week or two till pre-patch is here. Due to Calamity that was the entire Battle for Azeroth expansion, my guild essentially died out from 8.1 onwards. Because of this, we've had to have a huge recruiting drive. More than half our raid is made up of trials or new members. What I would advise you to do is post both on the EU recruitment forums, or US if you're from the US. Alternatively, you could try to recruit in-game, but it's pretty difficult since trade chat is nothing but people selling content nowadays. What we've been trying to do as an officer team for my guild is run lots of content in order to get people back in and to get people interested. People don't want to log on and see no one online because then they log back off again and you've got no community spirit in your guild. And that's one of the key things that will keep people coming back time after time to play with your guild. If they see people online doing Plus and doing content, they want to join in. Naturally, they want to try and fit in. So if you do it yourself as an officer or someone in your guild who wants to see this guild succeed, you really should be looking to run lots of content. Even if you do transmog runs, Mythic Tomb of Sargeras is pretty difficult to solo. You need 5 people for Avatar. So what you should do is you should look like running that kind of content, run transmogs together, difficult keys, Mythic Plus keys, easy keys, all that sort of stuff. As long as people are playing, you'll get people logging back in. Another thing you can do is prepare your guild's Discord server. What I mean by that is clean out all the garbage, all the old channels that no one uses anymore. Focus your Discord in on a particular thing. Bring in your raiding channels. You could have theory crafting channels for specific bosses in Castle Nathria, a Shadowlands beta channel for people to discuss changes. Probably don't need to go deep as class channels, but you get that sort of thing. One thing we recently added is a Mythic Plus channel. Mythic Plus channel has links to the Raider.io bot, that every time someone in the guild runs a Mythic Plus, it links the score in that channel. And it's been an interesting talking point for quite a few people. And also, it's quite funny when the officer team runs a Mythic Plus and we go 50% over because everyone takes the mickey out of us. What my guild and I are trying to do is one-to-ones with each and every single member of the team, both returning and new, because it allows us to sit down and learn a bit more about the people and what motivates them in the game, as well as break this barrier that is officers versus members. A lot of the time what people find is that members don't talk to officers when there's an issue because they don't know them well enough, and there's this big scary, oh, you're an officer, I'm a member kind of distance. You get the old raid members who know the officers quite well will have those conversations, but the new members won't because they don't know the person, they feel uncomfortable talking to them. So what we've been trying to do is break down that barrier. It's quite a good thing to have, and it helps you talk to them about raid composition and things like that. If you're serious about raiding and you haven't already organised your roster, you need to get it done ASAP. It's going to be one of the key things that makes or breaks your guild beyond having 20 people to actually do a mythic raid. If you turn up with 14 Rat Paladins as your DPS, you're not going to kill anything. You might kill the first boss, but that's probably just because it's a meme. And don't just get yourself 20 people for a mythic raid. What you should do is you should build in 24 to 25. Build in some redundancies. People who can't always raid. People who might be a bit on and off. Friends who aren't looking to be as hardcore as some of your team. Because that allows you to have those redundancies when people can't turn up or a specific class isn't good for a raid. Speaking of if specific classes aren't good, what we've asked our raiding team to do is look at main alts as well. This allows us to swap in and out people based on what's good for a certain fight. Looking at the last boss in Castle Nathria, split cleave is going to be huge. So Shadow Priests and Affliction Warlocks are really, really, really sought after in those situations. So yeah, like I said, if you run a raiding guild, you're really looking at raid composition and setup about yesterday. Why is raid composition so important? Well, it's going to be one of the main factors that makes or breaks your guild. As much as Blizzard keeps telling us, bring the player, not the class, that's never going to be the case as long as you want to do any kind of serious raiding. Raid composition truly is key. This is what a pretty standard optimized raid roster looks like. This composition of tanks and healers allows you to be as optimal as possible. You might not always be able to get this combo, depends on what people enjoy playing, and that's what I'd say to you. Don't force yourself into a class that you don't want to play. If you don't want to play it, you're going to get burnt out and you're not going to enjoy the game, unless you're a serious top-end raider. If you look at teams like Echo and Complexity, they will always pick the strongest class at the time. That's because to them, their enjoyment from the game is playing and winning and being as optimal as possible. You might not always be able to get this composition, but this is what you should be aiming for. A Brewmaster Monk allows Mystic Touch, which brings increased physical damage, which is great for your raid composition. Second tank can be a flex pick, but it looks like DK is going to be the strongest at the moment. A Disc Priest brings Barrier and a couple of other good tank cooldowns. Pain Suppression is fantastic. Disc DPS is also really good, and they're really good at predictable high damage when they can get lots of atonements off before the damage hits. Restoration Shaman brings Spirit Link Totem and Mana Tide Totem. and Holy Paladin brings loads of utility through blessings. Those are going to be 3 key healers you're always going to have in your raid if you can. Last pick for healers will likely be a Restoration Druid in ideal circumstances for predictable damage, but it really depends on who wants to come. That last flex pick, that full flex pick, will either be a Mistweaver Monk, a Holy Priest, or a Holy Paladin. Lastly, looking at your DPS in the roster, what you really want to do is you want to try and include a Havoc Demon Hunter. Havoc DPS isn't going to be fantastic, but Chaos Brand and Darkness are essential cooldowns to most things in a raid. Beyond that, having a good mix of Rogues, Warriors, and a DK in there for Anti-Magic Zone is ideal. A Retribution Paladin is a possible that you could have in there. Ideally, the 6th melee slot in your raid is going to be a flex pick. It can be a Retribution Paladin, it could be a Feral Druid, or it could be a Windwalker Monk. The rest is sort of locked in as it is. Moving to range, you've got a bit more flexibility in there. You need to make sure you've got a Mage and a Warlock, because they're always going to bring fantastic utility. Mages can cheese things through Ice Block. Warlocks bring Health Stones, Soul Stones, and usually good DPS, as well as Gateways, which can be great for skipping certain mechanics. It also looks like you're going to need a Shadow Priest for some of that split cleave damage that I mentioned earlier. And lastly, in the raid group, what you want is a Hunter. At least one, because there's always going to be mechanics that a Hunter needs to do, that only a Hunter can do well and efficiently, because a Hunter can attack on the move, as well as use aspects of the turtle to cheese certain mechanics. Your last few picks, you can max out on small Warlocks or Mages or Hunters, maybe some Shadow Priests, depending on what people is interested in, or a Balanced Druid. But those are sort of, once you've got in at least 1 or 2 of each, you're locked in at that. So yeah, that's sort of the ideal composition you'd have. This allows you the most flexibility, make sure you get all the buffs, you get the blessings from Paladins, Arcane Intellect, Bloodlust, you've got a Mechanic Slave in the Hunter, you've got Powered Fortitude, you've got a Shaman for the Windrush Totem, you've got Brewmaster for Mystic Touch, Havoc for Chaos Brand. What you'll see in this list is that there are very few things like a Retribution Paladin, there's not a Feral Druid, there could be a Balanced Druid if you really want one, but there's no requirement for one. So yeah, guys, that's the list of things that you should be looking at with your guild in order to get it ready for Shadowlands. You need to make sure you're acting as active as possible. Make sure you're messaging in the Discord. People are taking an active interest. Run some other games with your guild as well. So play some Among Us, play some Fall Guys. I don't know, play some Valorant with them. As long as you keep people interested in the team, the guild as a whole, you don't all have to play WoW together. You can go beyond that. And it's essential to the team cohesion, because if you all get along well and you're all having fun, then that's important. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch, and I'll see you guys next time.
Lol. Nice.